All right, and welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, don't forget to take advantage of the deal. It's 2 weeks left for live trading room. So promotional rate, 60% off for your first month. By the way, let me know in the comments if you made money in the live day trading room this morning. Now 15 winners and 2 losers, so strong start to the year for us in there. In any case, let's get into the markets here. So markets today, little gap down, and spiders are down about 0.5%, although they're coming off the lows here as we get into the, we got about 5 minutes left. So we got a bell warning. So I do have the volume down, hopefully. But in any case, market's down here, a little gap down, flush, and then a pretty good V shape, pull back, double top, pull back, up move, stop run, and now we're coming off the lows here. So again, we got very close. It's OpEx week, so expect this type of price action. One of the things I said this morning was like expect directional bets to get blown out. And, I'm kind of in scalp mode here for the most part. But you can see here, look how close, if we go over to the SPX, we got very close to 47.50. That was a level of interest. It is always, obviously. And we got very close, but they just didn't want to fill it, right? So they got very close here, and then we started to rally, and then they spiked it, right? So if you chased up here, you got smoked, and then they spiked everybody's stop out. And now they're ripping it back up here as we get towards the end of the day here. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left. But in any case, the point being, there's shark-infested waters out there today. And it's going to be like that for the rest of the week here. Remember, tomorrow, VIX expiration, a lot of volatility around this time frame. Be careful trading. And one thing I'll say, you guys have been waiting for me to say this for probably a month. Don't get too bullish. So we're getting close here, a little bit closer to what I would say is a possible period of risk, but there is still a little bit of time on the clock for bulls. And right now, here's your positive. Structurally, there's no problems, right? All we did was test the 20 MA, so no issues there. And we popped off it, a lot of chop here, but it's just noise, right? You're inside of a range here. Look at the up move from last Monday. Tight range, right? So consolidation to what? Go higher. And you can make a case that since the 12th or 3rd, what's this, the 14th of December, we've been in a range there. So it's like a range within a range. So right now, structurally, there's no problems. I would just be cautious here, though, as I think we are getting close to a risk period. That said, period of risk does not mean the market just crashes. It doesn't mean it goes down. It just means that the market can trade a little bit more freely. So there's nothing to say that we still can't blow off. In fact, I think that's still kind of my base case. I still think we're going to push up and break through 4,800, right? We continue doing this. Take a look at the hourly. Actually, let's go to a 10-minute. What do we have here? What is this? What are these? They're higher lows, except for this right here, but you still have a macro higher low there. So that's your kind of intraday lower low, to be fair, but you had one here as well. But big picture, macro, higher lows, right? So right now, there's really nothing wrong. You're above all 4 moving averages. There's nothing wrong with this price action here for a move. But I would just say get a little bit cautious here as we move forward. Right now, markets are holding up, though. Again, we're sitting right at 47.60, just above 47.60, obviously. If we do start to push up, your big levels to get through are 47.90 and then 4800. We do that, we're going to probably, I would just say 48.25, right? That's probably going to be, because that's going to pierce all-time high, and that would likely become a 0 DTE wall. Usually they work in quarters for the most part, not always, but that's kind of my guess at this point. For the bears, well, you got to take this out and make a lower low, which, it's only not that far away. But even so, like even if you just trade below the 20 moving average, it's not like the end of the world. We traded through it in the first week and everybody was calling for crashes. And I said, don't get too bearish. And then we bottomed the next day. So just breaching the 20 is not the end of the world. In fact, you could argue that as long as we stay above these 2 pivots here, like what's really happening, right? It could just be, bullish consolidation on the weekly, right? So nothing terrible here for the bulls. Bears have work to do. They've got to prove it. They have a chance to do it. At some point here, they will, but it remains to be seen. if they can. Triple Qs here, continuing to show leadership. Again, Mag 7, see the Qs here are flat versus the spiders down 40 basis points, and we're getting a little bit of a short covering rally here as we get into the close. But again, Mag 7 still showing leadership. Apple, this is one I called out in the trading room earlier. I didn't take it, but some members did. Right down here at the lows of the day, said, it was intriguing. 200 MA, I mean, not a bad risk reward there. A nice pop there for Apple off the lows. So again, Mag 7 and Tesla finally putting in a green day. That's now, I think, 2 out of the last 12 days it's green. Let's see if we can follow through tomorrow. But in any case, Mag 7 here at the big show. Microsoft, Google, Meta is down today, but that's been up quite a bit lately. And again, the Qs here showing leadership. So I forgot where I was going with that. But Qs showing leadership here being down just 8 cents. They might finish green here in the last minute. In any case, test the 20 MA, test the 20 MA. This is fine. It looks like it wants to go to this pivot high. By the way, it just drew in this trend line the other day. And you can see if we go to 48.20 or, all-time highs on the SPX, which is, 50 points away right now. It could coincide with this trend line here on the Qs. So the Qs might make a higher high if that's the case. Just something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, Qs are fine, and I don't see any issues right now. Semiconductors have been strong all day long. IWM here up, down 1 1/4, although it's coming off the lows here. Again, continues to be soft. Again, we talked about the RTY showing this pattern a little bit more cleanly, but kind of bear flaggish there, right? It is off the lows here. We'll see what it does tomorrow, but that could be vulnerable down to the 50 MA. If you look at if all the IWM, again, 187 area, green bar, little breakout area. That could be where it wants to go here. As there is the bell. Let's see, did they get the Qs green? Nope, down 4 cents. So either way, not of much consequence. But the Russell 2000 is kind of just drifting lower here. And again, 187, 187.50 would be your next area unless it gets saved over the next couple of days. Remember, there's a lot of OPEX stuff going on here, so they might spike it down Monday and then they might rally it up. Going to the end of the week, take these moves with a grain of salt. Dow here down 61 basis points, so a little bit of like minor chart damage, right? So we didn't close below this green, but we did make a lower low. Again, it's not like the end of the world, right? So, but we did make a lower low there, and we did close below the 20 moving average. Again, let's not make a ton out of it, but I've been saying the Dow is a little top heavy. 1, 2, 3 kind of rounded top type looks here. So we'll see if the Dow starts to roll. But again, I wouldn't rule out one more little pop here, but it is getting, it's looking a little lofty. Really extended still on the weekly. Your 20-week moving average is at 353. We're at 373, so it's a 20-point move. It's still very extended. It needs to do a lot more backing and filling. I think if it tries to break out, it's likely going to fail. SMH, that was the powerhouse today, and that's what led me to believe that we were going to rally up this morning, which we did, and it told me we were going to hold up all day. Take a look at NVIDIA. By the way, we got a scalp short off on this one too, on NVIDIA. That's still finishing near the highs of the day. Take a look at AMD. That wants double top. Going back to 2021. That's very close there. But NVIDIA here was leading the charge this morning. Again, I wouldn't get too bullish on this. I'll just say that much. But, trend is up, and it's acting well, and it's leading the market right now. SMH up 1.6. What can you say? Went into double top. Maybe you can argue that's a little triple top there, so that could still go a little bit higher. The SOX here back above the 20 moving average. Again, I talked about this kind of zigzag type look, and starting to play out here. I did close above. Yeah, we just barely closed above that red bar high, so that's a positive there for the SOX. Next spot is a gap fill, 41.75, and then 4,200. So again, semiconductors still acting well, and you need to respect the market. Remember this, you need to respect the market when the semiconductors are leading to the upside. IGV here down 12 cents. Let's not make a ton out of that. It's right into this area. If it consolidates, it can go higher. I still think it's overbought in the bigger time frames. It needs to do more backing and filling. Dow Transports did hit the 50 MA and got a nice bounce off of that. So decent action there. Need to see follow through for the bulls here. But I told you guys 15.2 would be decent support. We didn't quite get there. Doesn't mean it can't get there today or tomorrow. But right now they held the 50 MA, and we'll see what kind of pattern this puts in. Going into the end of the week, the big story, the big headline was Spirit Airlines. I guess so. JetBlue's deal got blocked with them. And obviously JetBlue rallied because nobody wants them overpaying for Spirit Airlines. But in any case, you can see went all the way down to 6. Take a look here, got halted a few times, I think. Bottomed at 580 and rallied up to $8 by the end of the day. I don't know what to make out of this. This looks like a broken chart. I mean, you are in a double bottom. If you want to try it here with a stop below 580 or, stop below the COVID lows on a weekly close, $6. I'm not going to fault you for it, but just be careful with it. It's got blown up for a reason today. So, and it did so on volume, lots of volume. But in any case, DJT here, getting a bit off the 50 MA. The jets here managed to recover. Again, Spirit Airlines is not a big portion of the jets anymore, or never really was. But, transport's holding the 50 MA. We'll leave it there. All right, let's get over to the interest rates. So I got to talk about this. So if we look over here, here's my rate chart. 2-year. So I think the long end is bottomed. And 2-year got a little bit, I've been talking about this level here, 4.15, 4.10. The 2 years a little bit trickier because the yield curves are starting to tighten up. And we're close to parity. I think it gets to parity before long. And this 3-month 10-year is finally getting up here. So the 2-year might just drift a little bit lower into this range, but I don't see a ton of downside. This is the problem. If it steepens via the long end, it's going to be a little bit tricky here. And I think the long end is bottomed. I tweeted this on the 27th of December saying there's not much downside for yields. I actually pinned that to my profile now today. And that is looking like it's a low here. So low, bullish inside bar, and another bid into the 50 MA, into these pivots. I've been telling you guys I don't see a lot of downside here for yields, and I don't see that's not changed. So I was really hoping for a little bit more of a move down here. But that's kind of it. So yields pushing up. The market's able to hold up right now, but if this starts to go higher, I promise you the market is not going to like it. The market is completely priced in yields going back to, again, 6 cuts, of however many basis points this year. I don't remember exact the number, but they've priced in 6 cuts this year. If this starts going up towards 4.5, I'm telling you the market's not going to like it. And the market's going to have to deal with that in Q1. And my stance has not changed on that. Doesn't mean we can't pull back here. You got this pivot right here, 50 MA. See the 10-year a little bit weaker, but that long end, Yellen's got to issue a trilly this quarter, and another trilly each quarter for the rest of the year. Let's just round that up to 6, and we'll say that the debt by the end of the year is at 40. Anyways, let's get on to the home builders. XHB here down 75 basis points. Trend is up. This is fine. Let's leave it alone. VNQ down 74 basis points. Pullback pattern until proven otherwise. This is actually okay on the weekly, really all the way down to about 83. As long as it stays above this green bar low on the weekly, I think this is okay. Doesn't mean it can't do more backing and filling, but BNQ is still pulling back here. One area I think is very top heavy is XLF. Pretty good reversal candle on Friday. Goldman and Morgan reported. Morgan Stanley took a pretty good hit. Does have a lot of daily support here, though, with the 200 and the 50, and it did come off the lows nicely today. But I think the XLF is really extended. Not so much on the daily, but on the weekly. Reminds me a lot of the Dow. Again, can't rule out 38 and a quarter, but I think that's about it. So I would be careful with fins here. KRE pulling back down 85 cents. It put it in a little doji. We'll see what that does here. I mean, you don't want this pullback pattern to kind of fail and roll over. But you still got support at the 50. We'll see what it does here. It's still safe for now. KBE, same thing. It's back testing 44. If it gets through that, this is your breakout level. Right there, 50 MA. So look for those areas. Broker dealers down, but did come off the lows. Again, let's not make too much out of it. I wouldn't even touch this until 520. And it is pulling back off of a parabolic move. All right, so oil, everybody's got an opinion on oil. I think I'm the only one who's neutral. I think if you had to guess, I think it's going to go up. And if it does go down, I don't see it going down that far. So we'll leave it at that. But guess what? Probably not a coincidence that OpX Friday. Look at where this pennant meets, right? See that red line? That's OpX Friday. So it's probably not a coincidence that this is going to have to pick a direction in the next week. We'll see what it does. Usually the first move is a fake out. Could that have already been the fake out? It's possible, but usually when you fake out, the next candle is like that, right? And we're just kind of chopping. So I don't know if that's it yet. We'll see what it does. I'm very interested to see how crude shakes out here. XLE here, continuing lower here. This gets interesting in the 78 range. We'll see if that holds up. It may need to go a little bit lower, but it is starting to get on the attractive side. So is the XOP. I'd say around 120. Let's say 123 for now. And then OIH, you guys know that level. I'm hoping that gets there tomorrow. That's a freebie for you. CCJ pulling back after a parabolic move. It's down 2%. The trend is up. URNM pulling back down 9 cents. The trend is up. What can you say? It's on breakout. Nat gas pulling back here, mostly on the front contract. Again, the storm is past, so it is pulling back in, down 14%. But basically, it's where it was a week ago before it kind of had that big up move. There is some support around 270 and then 260. So that's what I would look for nat gas to do. And by the way, there's a massive amount of backwardation from the Feb contract to March. So as of right now, if the March contract was to roll over, we would be down like at 240 or 245, I think. So just keep that in mind here. The chart's going to break apart a lot, just like it did here and here. But it is backwardation, so it's going to look very different here in the next week or so, I think, when it rolls over. All right, dollar index on breakout. So what does this chart look like? This is the 30-year, right? Bottom on the 28th, bottom on the 27th. Up move, bull flag, and it's pushing up here. Got to get through the 200. There is a little resistance here at 103.50. If it gets through that, 104, 104.35. So that's where the dollar is going in the short term. And is gold down? Yes, it is. Is interest rates and the dollar putting pressure on gold? Yes, it is. So gold here down 1%. Kind of an engulfing candle, at least engulfing the body. It's still nothing terrible here. Trend is still up. Weekly is still fine, but you could still go down and test 1950, 1960. A lot of geopolitical tensions going on. I think that's keeping gold up more relative to rates. But it did pull back in today, and it is what it is there. Silver, same thing. Again, you're holding this green bar. That's your positive. Your negative is you're putting in a bear base here. So just be aware of that with silver. I'm not like saying that it's bad. I'm actually rooting for this because I'd like to get in more involved in precious metals here. Platinum, that's getting very attractive here as well, around the 900 handle. Palladium into double bottom here. I'd like a pierce a double bottom for this, but it is very close there. Copper here as well, getting a little bit of a bid, so kind of outside move, or bucking the trend in the metals. Little gap up here on volume. So it's holding this kind of pseudo micro double bottom. I say micro because it's not like at the recent lows, but it's at a local low, I suppose. But it's holding there. I don't know what to make of it here. I don't really have a bias. I still think it needs to have one more drop, but it's holding that 100-day moving average right now. If it loses that, I'd say, you're probably going to go to 365 and then 360. So be aware of that. All right, lastly, let's get over the cryptos here. Bitcoin, first of all, I want to talk about Coinbase. I did tweet this out, and this is something I gave out in the trading room also. I did not take this. I should have. But, gap down into the 130 handle, 50 MA, pivot low. And if you go back here, 382 from the low. So, that could have worked out really well. I think some of my traders took it. I didn't take it. But, this is not a swing. It would have just been a day trade. But nice bounce there. And Bitcoin also bouncing. It was down very much. It was down a lot more earlier. And I put in a low right around the same time that Coinbase did. But, here's the problem. So it does now look like a sell the news. So at least on the daily. So tail candle through 49,000. You guys know, right? that level. We talked about that a long time ago. Outside move, right? Outside of that green bar. Now what is this? If this goes sideways, it's setting up a bear base here on the daily. So that would be bearish, possibly down to 38K. The positive is too many traders lock into the daily and they don't look at the weekly, and the weekly is still fine. So here, that's your positive for Bitcoin. All this needs to do to be fine is this catches up to price and this goes sideways. If it doesn't and we start to reject, then it's going to be problematic. But right now, there's no real issues here for Bitcoin on the weekly. On the daily, it's in a little bit of trouble here. So if it gets below, let me go back. If it gets below 40,000 on a weekly close, it's going to 36, and then probably 32.5. So just be aware of that. But right now, it's fine. No real problems here. At least on the weekly, but daily definitely did a little bit of chart damage. We closed below the 50 moving average for the first time since I think September. Again, it's not the end of the world doing that, but it's just a thing that happened. So just be aware of that. But it's holding up. If it starts to get back above trend, everything's fine. Don't lock into the daily time frame. Don't limit yourself. All right. So again, OPEX week, a lot of premium expiring. It's January, and markets here. Another test of the 20 MA. What do we have here? Higher lows on the daily. Give the market the upside bias for now, but don't get too bullish here in the short term. But right now, give the bulls a bias here until they drop the ball. So anyways, guys, gonna wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.